Oh, good morning, good morning. Morning, 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 morning. Guten Morgen. Let's see. We got a gold right now. It's currently pushing 2.38%. Man, this is insane. Like this was already hitting 30%. Look at this again. No bottom wick. No bottom wick for the Asia Open over there. I low-key just wanted to buy Asia yesterday. I'm not gonna lie, because on Instagram we saw that Trump is advancing into Iran, and it looks like, you know, he might be escalating some geopolitical tensions over here. So it's like, okay, so it would be funny like to buy the Asia session and just watch it go up. But anyway, you know, I think in any case I'm quite comfortable with just coming in whenever. So look at this. So this was a thing that I posted yesterday, right? So I was like, Trump says massive US armada is moving quickly toward Iran, right? And then we got a, first of all, where was our target? Yeah, Trump warns Iran that time is running out and ships enter region. Then we got price here at 53.30. I'm like, all right, Spartans, what's your profession? Let's go. 5,500, baby. And simple. Next slide. 10:46. So don't wonder why I start the stream with profit chat. You gotta like put that work in. Look at this. 5,500's been hit. We peaked at about 55. I don't know. I think we peaked a little bit higher than this, right? Yeah, I think we peaked a bit higher than this. We definitely blasted through 5,500, and the price should keep moving up. So we got this other feed right here. A massive armada is heading to Iran. It's moving quickly with great power and enthusiasm and purpose. And Trump said that he's not going to shy away from using violence if need be. So that is the current state of our economy right now. We just pushed up towards like 55.96, which is quite crazy because that's a shy of 5,600 right over here. So shy of 5,600, and yeah, I think that's pretty much the target, I guess. 5,600 was a psychological mark from the Asia Open. So next targets, I suppose, you know, we got 57, 58, 59, but I guess the key mark would be 56,000. I mean, sorry, the key mark would be 6,000. 6,000 right above here. So this is where gold would be attracted to, man, at this rate. And this is only freaking January. We're already freaking January, and price is already on track to beat last year's it's on track to beat last year's volume, which is just crazy. Let's look at this. Boom, from here. I think this was that last quarter. Man, this is 1 quarter. This candle here, this is our, I'm showing you last year's volume. This is last year's volume, and this is 1 quarterly candlestick. Just 1. You got whole 2026 ahead of us. But I just hope the world doesn't end before GTA, honestly. Like at this point, I don't know if it's a really good thing that gold should go up like this, but I hope I get to at least play GTA before the world ends. That's my only wish. Lord. Let me just finish GTA campaign, test the online multiplayer a bit, and then I'll be ready. I'll be ready to come home. But this is crazy, guys. Like, look at this. Look at this. We're literally going to create a record this year. This is going to be historical. This is already historical, if you ask me. I think this is the most gold has ever moved in all history in just 1 quarter. In just 1 quarter. This is the most that gold has ever moved in all of human history. Just this quarter. And you know, we're talking about the quarter, but we're still in January. This is still the first month. We're still in January. So, you know, I think what's coming up ahead is just going to be amazing. If you see German 40 holy dump, Okay, let's see German 40. GER 40. Holy dump. Oh, it's bearish right now. Negative 1%. Oh, yeah. German 40 is melting right now. Jeez. It's like a waterfall. Got a waterfall here on German 40. Oh, whips for the buyers. Holy. I still find it quite interesting. Like, why are people still trading NQ, German 40, and these other pairs? Why? It's like gold is giving free money literally like every day. I just don't understand. Why do these people trade NQ? It doesn't make any sense. And it does not make any freaking sense. Look at these daily candlesticks. Look at how vertical that gold is right now. From my strategy setup, it respects it more. Hit rate is like, okay, yeah. It's probably like a strategy thing, huh? Some of these people, like, I think what it is that they're waiting for some kind of retest, or so it must be something like that. Yeah, strategy is not allowing them, because usually that thing should go up too, as gold is personal preferences. Yeah, I think it has something to do with it. But gold, I can only use your strategy and only use my strategy as confluence. Sheesh, man. But these are the market conditions you got to make a lot of money in. So that's a big hindrance. You know, if your strategy is not allowing you into this market condition, that's a huge hindrance. These are not usual market conditions where people make like the most amount of money, correct? So yeah, that could be something you could look at, because, you know, I think as you're going to mature as a trader, you're going to really feel you're missing out, I guess, on such certain events. So yeah, I mean, when I was still learning how to trade, I was learning a lot of those strategies as well. I couldn't get filled in until I had to find a way that I can catch these gold moves. Because like gold, you can really catch gold if you're not like buying, for example, like this as it's going up and giving some kind of an confirmation. Then you can't. It's difficult to trade gold. Like the candle itself can retrace. But in terms of like 5-minute candles doing something like this and then filling your gap and then going up again, I don't think gold like operates like that, because we got a lot more volume in this instrument. So you have a gold rush basically. So whenever there's a confirmation, fine, the candle can fluctuate like this and then still continue to go up. But for sure, people are going to be getting stuck in more. It's like a gold rush. I think it just has so much volume in it, since it's a safe haven as well, and it's less manipulated. This is why I really love gold too. Super less man. And I took a buy this morning. I actually missed the first buy. My first buy was supposed to be here at this hourly candlestick, but I missed it by a few minutes, right? A few minutes. I was still getting ready. I was still like waking up, and then I saw it. I was like, damn, can't believe I missed it. Such a nice bumper clot too. Right here at the break of the highs, because I saw price was already up like quite a lot. Like, oh man, I could have caught this one. But there was so much volume in there. Like we already see like 3% by the highs. Like surely this is just a buy. In any case, if I buy, I'm pretty sure I'm going to win this trade. All right, let me get the trade. But I think Gbpjpy had like a pretty good entry here. I think this is a secondary entry that if I did not, because there's a gold rush, you can get away with it. But if there was no gold rush, then this is what you'd be waiting for, right? So as you can see, it also played out a lot cleaner for him. You definitely had a lot more structure in there. That was really, really good. So WWWW, sir. Yeah, so right now, I think gold, we got like some kind of a range here towards 55.50. Price is currently moving upwards. It has not formed any bit of structure yet. It still needs to create a bit more structure here. Boom, boom, and then continue onwards. But this is like a V shape V-shaped reversal. V-shaped reversal. Yesterday's banks revised their yearly targets on gold. Of course. Go like, damn. Gold's already breaking records here, huh? Because even if you look at the Newswire articles, they're gonna put like the targets very small, but gold can move so much more. Yeah, I knew Powell was not gonna change, and I typically don't like waste time on FOMC events. I'm not gonna sit there and Powell says the same thing every time. If you pay attention to the way Powell speaks, he knows exactly that repetitive thing to say when a reporter asks him something about some kind of a direction of the market. So he will say the same exact thing every single time. Even the reporters know this. If you watch the FOMC statements, you're just gonna see more of a light-hearted mood, yeah? Like the reporters know this. They're gonna try their luck. Sometimes they try and weasel their way in with some kind of a question that could be interesting, but they know what Powell is gonna say, so I don't waste my time with FOMC statements. Like Powell he knows what to do. Like that's his job. Like I think he's pretty good at his job. He's really good at his job. His job is to remain stoic and deliver the same exact way he always delivers, right? But every now and then a reporter might ask in a certain way, they put the words in a certain way that maybe they can try and figure out some kind of thing. Maybe if like Powell coughs or, just the way he responds to it. But most of the time it's pretty spot on. So I don't waste my time with that. I think the next time that we're going to get like a rate cut, maybe it's going to be interesting. We can stream an FOMC event. That's when Trump's guy is going to be in. So that's maybe going to be like summer months. We can probably stream an FOMC statement summer months. That'll be more interesting because we got a new guy in who's probably going to be a puppet. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. It pays to be Trump's puppet. You see Nicki Minaj just got a green card, the golden green card from Donald Trump. Basically, Nicki Minaj puppet. A lot of you think you might not sell out until someone comes to you with a briefcase. And we're going to see where your morals truly lie when you're tested. It's easy to have morals when you're not tested, but when you're tested, when someone comes up to you and gives you that briefcase, that's when that's when you're going to start really thinking. So we're gonna see. This guy, I think he's gonna be Trump's puppet. So we wait, Spartans. We wait. Spartans. We shall wait. But there's a lot more upside to be seen on gold. Got like some small range here. These candlesticks look small, but there's actually delivering a lot of pips. Now look at the size of these 1 minute candle. This candle here is like 80 pips. This candle is about like 68 pips. The smallest candle in this area here is about 41 pips. My price for everything is 10 million period. Yeah, what's your price, chat? What's your price? Everybody's got a price. What's your price? 10 million. 10 million Swiss francs. What's your price if you got to put like a rate cut? If Trump comes to you and says, hey, listen, we got to have some rate cuts. We're going to have some rate cuts on the next one. And I'm going to give you 50 million. 50 million. Oh, 99% of the chat's taking that deal. 50 million. Got to get some rate cuts. Easy 15 million. That's what Trump said. Powell has the easiest job, right? He just has to cut the rates. That's all he's got to do. For 50 million, generational wealth. Doesn't sound so bad. For one insy bitsy rate cut. Dollar's coming down. DXY is on its way down, folks. We are coming downtown. We're just about breaking. Oh, it actually kind of pulled up a little. Wait, this is a dollar index? Oh, yeah. It's flirting with 96 here. We got to crack 96. Crack 96 and we'll probably tumble properly. I think, it's still an artificial hold section right here. So I assume this is going. I would assume like maybe a best time to crack that would be in the summer months. as to not do too much damage. But hey, you know, like whatever is happening right now with Trump and all this escalation, I don't know if that 96 level can truly hold. We might end up breaking and be talking about breaks below 88 for the next rate cuts. We might even be already down here by 88 by the time June, July comes about. We'll see though. We will see, because that would need a really strong push on the next quarterly. The next quarterly would really have to push. You see, like this quarter over here, this was started from like April, really big dump. We would have to see something of the sort like that. A lot of volume, so we can be just in time to have the summer rate cuts to continue filling that range down below support. Why is BTC still dumping? BTC, I think, you know, you got to check with the macro fundamentals with Bitcoin. I don't know, like for me, Bitcoin just doesn't seem like something that, why would it move up? You know, that's the question. It needs some kind of a news. If there's no news or macroeconomics surrounding anything behind it going up, then it wouldn't go up. Remember, the market is driven first by news. It's not driven by technicals. It's not about buying the dip just because it looks good here at like 87 maybe. It's accumulating. Let's see. The US dollar index has hit a 4-year low, historically benefiting risk asset. You know, people confuse Bitcoin with gold. Some people think Bitcoin and gold correlate, but they have no correlation. Bitcoin inflows to Binance have fallen to their lowest since 2020, averaging about 5,700 BTC monthly, indicating a shift towards holding rather than selling, affecting market liquidity. U.S. Senators alleged crypto conflicts of interest. 6 lawmakers have a written letter to Deputy Attorney General pressing on potential conflicts of interest related to his decision to scale back the Department of Justice's cryptocurrency enforcement efforts. Wednesday letter claims, last year we asked for a rationale behind your puzzling decision to scale back the Department of Justice's cryptocurrency enforcement efforts. Yeah, I don't know. I've personally never been too much of a crypto fan. I kind of like crypto in terms of a area to store capital, right? Like this market is mainly for people who have money, who can't use traditional banking. That's a tool. It's just a tool like this. Because some people, they get paid a lot of money, they can't put in a bank because the bank's gonna freeze their funds. So they gotta have like different avenues, like stable coins. It's just a money laundering thing. But I think that's a real value of cryptocurrency. If you're trying to get rich off this, then you know, Godspeed. Hopefully it keeps pushing up. We did peak at 128. 128. But I think given the right amount of time, you know, the system, you can never beat the system in time. The system, with any given amount of time, it will catch on to anything that's too good. Especially like something like crypto, you might start to see some jurisdictions in the future come in. But we'll see how that pans out. That's a lot of speculation for now. But yeah, this is accumulating here. If you're looking at crypto longs, I would say wait for price to break at least, get up to like around 100K. But the real break is going to be somewhere around like 98,815. So once it starts breaching this level right here, you're going to have a higher probability that your crypto holdings are going to increase in value as soon as we break that high, because now price will move up towards like 115. So you get it at a 98K and price will increase towards like 115 most probably. Maybe even try attempt all-time highs, but we got to see with that type of exuberance also that's pushing crypto at the moment. Like what's the reason why it's even breaking that high? If it breaks a high without any change in macroeconomics, then that's gonna be quite strange. Might even be a liquidity grab to pull back downwards. It will be a liquidity grab. So as it's breaking those highs, you got to pay attention to why fundamentally it's even moving upwards at that point. So you can see if it's a genuine move or just a liquidity grab to continue moving down. 44K for the goal of 50K this year. What is this? You submitted a... That's a withdrawal. Oh, nice. Congratulations. Let's go. Let us go. Oh, I got your ID. I got your account number over there. I'm gonna send them an email and reroute that $1,000 now. Awesome, man. I'll reroute it. That's what those Nigerian scammers do. Like Hush Puppy, you know, he used to get money that was moving between companies, and these were like so many millions, and he would reroute it. He would like reroute it via emails, which is insane. Imagine sending a company like $10 million, and you got a reroute just via an email. You're very careless with money. It's, you know, the thing is, you have to be cynical. If you're not cynical enough, the chances you get scammed like that is a lot higher in your lifetime, you know? You always gotta, like, especially surrounding like large sums of money, you should never rush it. Like, no matter what, just never rush it. Be super cynical about it. Just take it as careful and slow as possible. When you're doing large sums of money, small money, you know, whatever. Like, but large sums of money, man, you gotta be super careful. I know a friend of mine, his fiance's grandparents lost like $400,000. They're pretty well off. They lost like $400,000, and they already knew the money was gone, so they didn't even like bother going for it again. But imagine that, like just 400K gone like that. Simple. And that's why, like, whenever I take a trade in the market as well, man, I want to keep that money. All the money I make here in this market, I want to keep that money. Very cynical about the market, you know, because it wants to take your money. The market wants to take your money. I had a close call yesterday. Yesterday was very close for me because I did overtrade. I felt a bit more confident, but hey, did I not post it on the Discord? Yeah, I posted it on YouTube, but not Discord. Yeah, but I felt real confident that gold should move up. Right now with these market conditions, it's very easy to get away with quite a bit. Yeah, look at this. Man, I took a sell over here. Because you know the messed up thing is yesterday I missed this sell by literally just... I went to take a piss. I was like, all right, I'm going to take a piss. It's going to be like maybe 2 or 3 1-minute candlesticks. I came back to the screen. I couldn't even see structure anymore. It was just a candle that just went down like this. That's all that it looked like. So I missed that sell. It's a nice little accumulation break to the downside over there. I'm like, all right, let me come back. I took this sell. And then this sell over here, it actually hit TPs, but it was fluctuating quite a bit. So I couldn't secure the way I wanted to secure. So I got stopped out. Then I took a buy, but the next candle was about to open, so it retraced. I was like, nah, man, if we break, this was a shotgun play. So if we break, this thing's got to move up. This is my 4th trade over there. So, you know, eventually it did end up moving up. It did end up moving up. But yeah, that was a bit of a doozy, that one. And then this morning, just took another buy here, simple buy. So all my stats, if you guys want to follow up with my trades, you know, it's literally all here. You can see on my YouTube channel, you can see on the spreadsheet, you can see it on the reels. You can see before after pictures on the Discord. You know, like literally all over here. Boom, boom, boom. So we've just been grinding, man, like every single day. This month, we've just been super locked in. Super locked in. Because I know these type of market conditions, you gotta like milk them while they're while they're available, right? Gotta keep milking it. Hey, good morning, Jane. Good Avo morning. Morning, Joshua. Billionaires don't care too much about millions. It's true. Do you expect a big correction on gold? No, I expect it to keep going up. No reason for me to speculate that it should correct. When it corrects, we'll correct with it, correct? We'll have to see candlesticks first come down like this. And we're like, okay, first bearish candle. Then we see it come down like that. Then we're like, okay, let's try and correct with it now. You know, but it's probably just going to be a retracement of sorts. Trust me, there's nothing, like for me, this is even just weird to look at. Look at how vertical this, because markets don't typically move like this. Like, markets are not vertical. There's always some kind of a structure. So this is going to be like whoever catches that retracement. I mean, that's going to be such an amazing, and imagine catching a sniper entry on the real retracement, on the pullback of this thing. Like how Warren Buffett got out when the stock market was right about to crash. He basically got out of the tippy top. Imagine getting like right at the top of that thing. It would be insane, you know. But people right now who are just trying to short gold, they're getting a lot of whips. You know, every day trying to short gold, you're getting whips. So for now, we gotta wait. We gotta wait. But follow me on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. That's where most of the time I will be posting my thoughts. I will be giving clues on where market is going to be heading to next. But yeah, right now we just created a resistance. Right here, you got maybe some potential buys above 55.37. You got a range of about 73 pips. Towards the downside, you got a lot of like choppiness over here. We're still up like 2%. It looks like the London session is pulling down. Most of the action has already played out throughout Asia, pre-London, and you know, we've been moving down since London opened, which is right here. So definitely seeing a lot more bearish momentum. We're not seeing as much bullish exuberance as we did have before, but we're coming down towards support, and we got a key support mark here by, this is 55.13. If like start breaking that, you got a massive range to pull down right here. This is going to be around 581 pips, which is basically on a normal year, gold's daily candle will do 500 pips, 600 pips. So pretty big range. Will it correct the full range? I don't think so. But it's definitely an area where markets can play. Right now, what you're seeing here is a little bit of profit taking. Remember, it doesn't really get that much better past 3%. Gold has already hit 3% on the daily. So obviously, you're going to see those profit taking come in. See if we get from like the bottom right here. It peaked at around 3.40%. So definitely towards the tail end. So you're going to see profit taking. See really one big profit taking dump right here and here. And it's still scaling in and then profit taking again. So I think that's going to be the last foothold is going to be the support right here. If we can get through that support, then I think price can continue to melt a little bit more. But that's definitely still counter trend. It's currently in an accumulation breakout. Let me see how big that push was. I tell you, like, it doesn't look that big, but chat, this is already like 46 pips on that accumulation break to the downside. It doesn't look big, but it's pretty big. So you got to measure it. You got to be careful with measure. Sometimes people also don't measure. They just look at the candlesticks and they assume it's going to be the same. And you end up taking a trade, and by the time it's hitting your stop loss, you'll see you're going to be losing a lot more than you thought. Because you're not accounting for the volume that's in the market right now. I was doing some backtesting back in 2011 and I was catching big moves in terms of candle size. And then when I checked the pips, it's 30 pips. Yeah, exactly. Their ranges on gold used to be like 10, 15 pip. You'd have like a range like here. This would be, you'd say even like a nice 10 pip plus range would be good. So something like this could be easy, like 10, 15 pips. Like that. But now this range is like 75 pips. So before my rule actually was, the range has to be 10 plus pips to be even worth considering as a range to fill. Nowadays, that's light work. You can pick the smallest range here and it's going to be way more than 10 pips. Like 80 pips there. From here to here, you have like 50 pips. Got another beautiful range fill here during the Asia. Candlestick broke above. This is a 55.23 to keep moving bullish. Here, filled it about like 230 pips before the retracement. Imagine just a small move like this is 230 pips. In the middle of an Asia range. Market open was all the way down here. This is like middle of an Asia range. 230 pips. Daily candlestick has done already about 1,850. Close to 2,000. Just an insane amount of volume. Imagine if aliens traded. I wonder how their markets would look like. By the way, are you still working with 16p stops? That's like a squirrel's shit in the wins. Yeah, I'm still working with 15, 20 pips. Why not? It shouldn't even come. You know the thing about the entry. Once you get the entry, it shouldn't come down even 16, 20 pips. The entry confirmation is an area in the market where it's like you're gonna get like a good deal. Usually that's when I get in. It's like a good deal that a lot of people will be willing to buy that at that price point. So quickly, the shelves quickly stock out. That's the whole idea. So regarding that deep of a drawdown, you can get it, but you shouldn't really, it shouldn't even come down there like 16, 20 pips. It's a refined entry model. You know, some of these entry models, you can expect those drawdowns, but this is like very refined. For me, the whole idea is like, how can I really limit any kind of a drawdown? Because whenever you're going to have your data being collected, also in your data, it's going to show you drawdown. How much % of your trades go into drawdown? You know, that's also a statistic, which is quite nice to refine, correct? Like if you can refine and reduce that amount of drawdown. Nobody really likes drawdown. It's just a part of the game, depending on how you trade. Vic, did you know that you can trade weather in futures? You can trade anything, I guess, nowadays, right? But that's wild. Like, what's the probability of rain today? But that market can be so nicely manipulated if you do cloud seeding. You know, like how farmers or these companies that can do cloud seeding where they pour like, I think it's like a powder in the sky, and then the powder seeds the clouds together and it creates like a rain. Because, you know, it's just science. Like rain is just science. You can make a cloud inside of a room, inside of a box. So you get manipulated. Cloud seeding. I think you can even do it from the ground. I think maybe I watched a video one time, like people try cloud seeding from the ground. Like you release some kind of a chemical in the air. Wasn't there an episode of Top Gear where they did that as well? There's an episode of Top Gear, I remember, where they did cloud seeding. Look at this.
This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it
Look at that
turns
smoke.
out, the cleanest.
Loudest and cleanest.
Now,
Oh, it's
the
not
most
smoke.
amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you.
Hey, W.
It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh.
Yeah, if I can do that, I would definitely trade the weather. If I had that machine right there. That's wild. I wonder if you can just buy that machine. Like, hey, you know, I got a cloud making machine in the backyard. Put on a nice horror movie, light up the cloud machine, and you're gonna get some rain. You're gonna get some really nice rainy weather over there. All right, look at this. Price has broken below 55.13. It's creating a top wick. It even re-breaks its lows over here. We might even see it pull down a bit, quite a bit over here to fill up some of this range. So it's quite nice that actually, like for people looking for sells there, it pushed during the last few seconds as well. I think it was literally like 5 seconds that pushed below that support. And then like next candlestick opened up quite nicely to create at least a bottom wick. This is typically top wick, which is typically what I guess you'd like to see. So it is flirting with the idea for a potential sell-off. Turn the machine on 1 hour before a nap. Oh yes. Hey, Dawood. Mansoor, thank you for the sub. Gold demand to remain strong as investors reassess risk. Global demand for gold is expected to remain strong this year, driven by lower interest rate, uncertainty in bond markets, and persistent geopolitical risks. The World Gold Council said after bullion crossed $5,000 mark for the first time, gold's appeal as an all-weather hedge related to fixed income should continue to attract material investor demand in 2026. Possibly beyond. The trade group said Thursday, investors across major economies are increasingly concerned about stressed global economic conditions and fiat currencies. That is pushing them to rethink risk diversification and wealth preservation. As a result, gold is gaining renewed attention as a hedge and is being more seriously considered and allocated within portfolios. Investors around major nations are having questions and concerns around their economic conditions. It's quite interesting that we're not talking about what's happening with Iran here yet on TradingView. I feel like there's just so much bombardment of why gold should be moving up. It's like that Iran news is not finding its way in here. The precious metal has smashed records over the past year, bolstered by central bank buying. But obviously this is like the most important stuff anyway. And strong inflows into exchange traded funds as investors shy away from sovereign bonds and currencies. The dollar value is still there, so we're not concerned about the jewelry space just yet. Gold jewelry continues to function as a form of savings. The slowdown is more viable on the fabrication, alright. Okay. Alright. Okay, alright. Yeah, I'm trying to limit as much sell. Oh, there's a small accumulation there. I'm trying to limit as much sell side as possible on gold spot overall. I'm trying to keep my positions here to be as buy as much as possible. I feel like even yesterday's trade, I kind of got like push myself in because I saw a lot of selling pressure during that pre-NY time, so I can't push myself in. Ended up taking a whip for that one. So I'm trying to keep it as much on the buy side as I possibly can. But you know, some sessions just sell off, and as much as you want to buy, it's just going to be a sell for the session. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. What the heck? Goldie's filling the range now.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Holy. I wonder why it pulled back up a second time, though. It shouldn't have pulled back up a second time because it already created a top wick. Sheesh.
Bomboka! Why are you running?
Yeah, well, the range is getting filled, I guess. Now the range is getting filled. 500 pip range. See, there's nothing in its way. There's nothing in its way over here. This is all clean traffic. Dump it. Moving 300 pips in seconds. Yeah, let's see that 1 minute candle. Sheesh, man. From the top of the 1 minute candle here, about like 315 in just 1 minute. Insane. Oh. You know, the funny thing is, I haven't had that happen to me in a trade yet. Like, so to have like such a crazy move like this. That's 300 pips. 300 pip on a 1 minute. Most of the time, I'm already out by this candle over here. Candle over here, I already moved like 50 pips. I'll already be out from this candle. So imagine taking this accumulation break right here and then still holding your position beyond that point. Then quick, that's a quick, yeah, 300. Quick 300. On FOMO, sellers activated and buy step in. People are going to try catch a falling knife. After such a big move like that, it just slipped. Sheesh. But this is the thing about sells though. This is like typical seller behavior. Whenever you're going to look at the market, you rarely see those situations happen in the buys. But you're going to see most of the time that happen for sells where it like moves so fast. Damn it, lol, went a low lot size, $470. Hey, still profit is profit. 470 bucks. Profit is profit. Have you been to Kenya? Yeah, I'm half Kenyan. I'm half Kenyan, half Belarusian. Of course, brother. Executed 4 trades today, 3W, 1L. Significantly up for the week. Coming up for more tomorrow will be bad manners. Have a good one. See you on Monday. All right, Yasin. Do you think Fibonacci is valuable and worth using for analysis, especially with bull runs and bear runs? Fibonacci is a tool to measure a retracement. That's all a Fibonacci is. I don't necessarily think it's much of a strategy more than it is a tool just to measure a potential retracement. So if you're trying to use like a strategy, then I think then that will make you miss on a lot of opportunities. But if you're good at using the fib, by all means, you know, I try to use a fib, but it's kind of difficult to use. Only you use a fib when the market is trending. Never use a fib in these kind of sideways conditions, like when markets are moving sideways like this. Because you're trying to catch something similar like this push and then into the Fibonacci to keep going up bullish. So I think in these market conditions, if you truly understand, because you know the fib can come at any time, right? You see like this fib came here during closer to market close. So I think you're going to have to also adjust your perspective on time when using a Fibonacci, because that setup can come literally at any point right here. And you know, what does that mean also for those times where there's news? Will you still take a trade off the fib? Because sometimes you're going to find a situation where like news, I think this was FOMC even, where you're going to find a situation where you're still waiting on that fib play and then the news is coming in. So you're still going to take it because it could still respect it. But yeah, there's a lot less control over those certain type of events, especially surrounding news, because you don't know when the setup will come. Unless you're trading fib on the intraday, like 5 minute, 3 minute, that's a different story. Like on the 1 minute Fibonacci's here, you can see Fibonacci from here to here, from this high to this low, because it created a new lower low. That's a golden zone retracement, because now maybe you're anticipating price to keep moving down. Because see, people like make money, right? There's no just one way to trade the market. So people really hang up on the idea that there's no one way to trade the market. There's several ways. So like, for example, you got accumulation break here, and then whoever like make the money over here, maybe you got a support that's here. Someone bought off a support area, and then you got a Fibonacci trader coming in over here to cash the retracement. And maybe you got some candlestick traders over here coming in with an engulfing bearish candle. You know, there are many ways to skin the market. So yeah, I think it's quite funny if you're going to think that it's only happening because of your strategy, but your strategy is just supposed to get you in the market. Like, we can all be getting in these same cells here for different reasons, but we can have a similar entry, right? You can even see beautiful accumulation break with a liquidity hunt right there. So even somebody who's just naturally good at reading price action even can just trade without necessarily a strategy based off their understanding of markets, right? You got to see something like this. I mean, most of the time, that's the smoking gun right there. So it's like also situational. So that candle didn't even happen. Obviously, it didn't happen until it happened. So you're just sitting on the chart like this, you know, you're just waiting. You're waiting for something interesting. You're not really expecting much because you're not using much of a strategy. You're just kind of waiting to see something interesting. And maybe you have like some kind of a bias in your head. So then all of a sudden, you have a candlestick do that, right? Spike up like that and start ripping back down aggressively. So that for you rings a few bells. And based off of your experience, you can tell even like how you're going to trade that. Maybe something like this and say, oh, that's an interesting confluence. And then boom. So I think that's a level you're going to get to with first mastering your system. I always say, before you become a philosopher, first make money. Become rich before you become a philosopher. I mean, like these people will say, oh, money can't buy happiness. You know, I can't be happy with money and all of that stuff. You're going to say that stuff when you have money, because money can buy you a lot of like security. You know what I mean? It can buy you a good healthcare. Something happens to your family, you don't have to worry about that, because you know money is not going to save you on your deathbed, but it will save you in certain conditions where you need money, right? So in a sense, yeah, money can buy you happiness. It can buy you at least some kind of a security. You know, so don't become a philosopher before you become rich. Because it's only when have you ever heard like, it's mostly rich people who are going to tell you money doesn't give you happiness, but they're already rich. So don't listen to them when they say that. So where was I going with this? Yeah, it's the same thing with the idea of trading without a strategy. Don't become a philosopher until you become rich first. Have a system in place that can actually give you some kind of consistency. And then just over the years, then you can strip all that back and start to realize the market doesn't operate as you think it does operate, because the way you think the market operates now is going to be different in like 10 years, given that you're on the right path. Some people get stuck on this path for like 5-10 years. They're still losing. They can never crack it through. So, you first have to build a solid foundation, start making that consistent gains, have completely eliminate the imposter syndrome that you're getting lucky. And then now you can open up your mind a bit more towards certain aspects. That's why sometimes I like talking about things quite funny. Like on this stream, I talk about trading in a completely different way than you're probably hearing other people talk about trading. You know what I mean? Like whenever we just make jokes about getting out of the reef or sharks in the water, or just like stupid shit like that. Ideally, that's not what you want to be looking at markets like that, because you wouldn't fully understand until you get it. Man, it's like sometimes I think we're gonna make trading look too easy. We're gonna make it look too easy, and maybe gives a wrong impression to people. I think some people would rather see me lose more, then that would be more realistic for them. But you always have to be cautious. Just in any case, we always say like risk 1 or 2% per trade. Don't over risk, don't over trade. Those are the only ways you're gonna lose. Because remember, in the beginning, the first thing you gotta do is survive. That's all you gotta do is survive. When you open up a business, the first thing you gotta focus on first is just survival. You just have to survive the learning curve. That's it. Don't worry about the profits now. Just survive the learning curve. And then that's going to take care of itself later. Please, do you run other businesses aside from trading? No, not really. Like trading is the major thing. Owning a business is like having a baby. You have to give the business an equal amount of attention. Like people, when you open a business, just open a business, you're going to lose money. Some people are going to open a restaurant business, and you're going to ask them, what the hell do you know about restaurants? There are people like this who all of a sudden they have ideas like, oh, I want to open a restaurant, but they have no idea what it even means to own a restaurant. Those businesses, most of the time, just failing. So no, I don't have any other businesses. Because when you open a business, you're all in. You want to be all in that business. I don't like the word side hustle. If you get a side hustle, then that's just going to be a failing business. So it has to have, some solid investment. And I haven't found any yet. Trading is the best business. Like, I don't think there's such a business like trading where we're having like so much exponential growth, especially in the current market conditions. Like markets are all, the good thing about trading is they say the rich get richer, correct? And where do the rich get rich? In the markets. They have no other avenue to get rich. It's the markets. The rich can't just keep opening up businesses to get rich. They're going to be like, oh, we need a restaurant, we need this, we need that. No, the rich get rich off markets. So trading is the best business to be involved in. It never dries up. It never dries up. There's always going to be a reason. There's always going to be a war. There's always going to be some kind of a drama. If markets dry up, you're going to see that most of the time you're going to see like a war or something. There's going to be a reason that markets start moving again. Otherwise, you're going to get a situation like Bitcoin. See, like Bitcoin here is just like holding stagnant. There's nothing. Imagine if this was our world economy over here. This thing's like frozen in time. There's nothing. It's dead. It's dead, bro. Like there's nothing. That's Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is not like cryptocurrencies, digital currencies are only accounting maybe for like 3% of, maybe even less than 3% of the overall market. If you put the market on a pie chart, cryptocurrencies, like this is just such a small percent. So as long as we're working with fiat currencies, US dollar, Japanese yen, British pound markets, and correlations with like gold, they're always going to move. Maybe one day if we move away from traditional Currencies like GBP CAD, New Zealand, Euro. Then we'll have a situation where all these markets here are gonna die out. They're all gonna die out, and we'll just have a universal currency. And that's gonna be the main one, because then these all cease to be useful at that point. Because it's just paper, right? Australian dollar, GBP, CAD. This is all just paper. You know, it's just we're just giving value to a $20 bill, for example, or $100 bill. This is all just paper. But like, if we're gonna find a more universal way of transacting, that all dies out. Simple. I always look for more control, and people will accept this control because it gives them safety, and people like safety. That's why they move to countries where they feel safe. You know, sometimes people are gonna move to Dubai maybe because they feel safe in Dubai. You know, but with safety comes control. Don't forget, the government will need to control most of your life to provide you that safety. And most people are going to accept that for the safety. Can't wait to trade bottle caps. My first business died quick time. My second got my money back in weeks. Now I'm just generating profit monthly. It's been sweet. I'm completely hands off too. Nice. It's not the pursuit of happiness, it's the happiness of the pursuit. Yeah, it is a happiness. I like that, Edward. Yeah, it is a happiness of the pursuit. You will be. I was arguably more happy as a brokey, because when you have something to look forward to, that's amazing. You know, that chase will always have something to look forward to. But when you don't have that thing to look forward to, then it just becomes okay, you know, whatever. But I guess that's what you gotta look at. You gotta look at the journey, your trading journey so far. You kind of miss the days when you first started, like learning how to trade markets, like that pursuit of happiness. Then as you find more consistency, then you're gonna really miss those days once you find more consistency, because then it just becomes stoic. Like everything just becomes more stoic. 1 + 1 = 2. Show up at this time. Do your job. Clock in, clock out. This is, let's see what's going on here. We'll create like some kind of a resistance. It would be nice if it created a support, because it's still on the way to fill this range on the 5-minute. There's still a little bit of range down here, which is about like 276 pips, and you got another range here again, which is like 240 pips. That's currently mopping that range up in the middle right now. Would have been nice if it created like some kind of a support though first. Let's create a support like this. Boom. Get the next candle. Maybe do like liquidity grab above here, and then start a push down again. That would have been nice. But yeah, right now it's just like V-shape reversals. If you already have everything, you already had a purpose. Hey, coach, it's super fast today. Hey, good morning, good morning. Yeah, today is fast. Gold is moving really, really fast today. I've never seen gold at 3% up pre-London. Already at 3%. That's basically the whole day. It's like you're gonna wake up, you're waking up basically at the end of the day. That's how it feels like. It's like moving really fast. We're basically going similar to London market close right now. If you know the way a daily candlestick would typically operate in terms of percentage, it shouldn't be like 3, and it hit like 3.40%, and now it's retracing it. It feels like that's during the time, that's how it moves towards now the market close, and then we'll have the next daily candle open. So an immense amount of money, it's moving in the gold market today. I find myself, yeah, I find myself haven't seen pre-London session this fast. So fast, man. So quick. It's literally like people who are just not trading gold are missing out so much. See, gold demand to remain strong as investors reassess risk. Global demand for gold is expected to remain strong this year, driven by interest rates, uncertainty in bond market, and persistent geopolitical risks. The World Gold Council said after bullion closed $5,000 mark, and now we've had our targets by 5,500 hit, which is now making $6,000 a troy ounce our next goal. Gold's appeal as an all-weather hedge fund. Yeah, this is... Let's see what silver is doing. Silver is up like 250% past 12 months. Gold is up like about 90% plus. Yeah, silver daily right here. We're actually not moving on silver. 0.02%. Oh, daily on silver is kind of slacking a bit. You get like silver some whips. Whip silver. It peaked at 120 bucks. As gold peaked at $56,000. I mean, yeah, $5,600. 5,600. Yeah, silver's not moving as much today. Bitcoin is slower. See platinum. Platinum's like 0.97%. Slightly moving, opened up with a small gap over there on platinum. Where's platinum trading at? 2,900 psychological has been hit on platinum. Also looking quite parabolic there on the quarterly. Nice little accumulation break that is. Of that quarterly time frame from down here. By 1,200. That's the thing I like about my strategy, because like if you want to take it slow, you can literally trade the higher time frames too. This is how the monthly would look. So if you see yourself you're gonna see yourself in the future in a situation like where you see that something has bottomed out, because it very much does look like a bottom here, especially after price pulls down like this. And let's say you're much older now and you don't really want to day trade and you're kind of just doing it for fun at this point. You see something like this and you kind of retired and you're like, okay, so platinum's down right now. There's any time to buy platinum is now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for price to break out of this accumulation play, but now you're just doing it on the monthly time frame. Right? You're just doing a monthly time frame and then just waiting. Oh, we got to leave here. Boom. They get triggered as it breaks the highs. Same reactions you get on the 1 minute too on the confirmations. And then have that distribution. So if you look at all your instruments, this actually started breaking here to June 2025. So imagine this is kind of like, you can think of it like a black swan event. This is the summer months of June 2025. The platinum was down here trading at 1,156. And then it's completely skyrocketed. So this is a beautiful thing about trading, because these events are going to come again. These events are going to come. You might even see gold in the future in a situation like this, and then you know exactly what to do. That's why I think with age, it's one of those jobs like trading gets better with age. So if you get someone who's like much older, more experienced, they're only gonna be like much better trader. So we can see with gold spot, also in a rally. 5 minutes approaching that resistance right here. You're gonna have some potential buys right when it breaks this high. A small little nice range towards that next point. About like 130 pips through that resistance. I've recently learned to beautifully summarize gold run explanation. It was a response to someone saying that this bull run is absurd. Oh, and that it should reverse. This only looks absurd if you're trying to explain it after the move. Gold doesn't rally because it's expensive or overbought. It rallies because large money needs protection. Plus liquidity when uncertainty clusters. Raise geopolitics, debt, currency risk. None of that resolves cleanly. Let me just move this here on the side. It just shifts. Also, strong trends don't end because they've gone too far. They end when positioning is unwound or better hedge appears. That hasn't happened yet. Asking how long a bull run lasts is a wrong question. The right one is, what would actually force large players to exit gold? Until that answer is clear, calling it absurd or just emotional discomfort with a one-way market. That's true. I mean, there's no point trying to rationalize something that people have really failed to rationalize. The market has never been really figured out. I mean, hedge funds do an incredible job, like Goldman Sachs. You know, they have a huge history. They have an amazing performance. But in terms of like figuring out completely, I don't think everybody's like figured out the market. So whenever you get events like what's happening now, best to stick to the sentiments. Let's say, you know, the red folders like the NFP and stuff, those are a lot more gambly type of trading. But the macros, and you're gonna hear that word a lot on this channel because it's the closest thing you're ever gonna get to being sure about a certain thing, is macro fundamental volume. There's nothing else that will beat that. There's no book map. There's no strategy. There's nothing. There's nothing. Because in trading, we only got two things, technicals and fundamentals. Technicals are useless without fundamentals. You know, it's a reason why we even stopped trading GJs, because there was no fundamental work to push GJ in terms of volume. So even if you get the best setup, you just don't get volume, and it's not as appetizing to trade. But now GJ is doing quite well. So how long will it take for the Armada to arrive near Iran? Any day now. But we're going to see it pop off on a latest updates on TradingView when it happens. But that's the next catalyst. At least Mr. Trump has something in his back pocket for us. As of right now, we do have other things kind of moving the market too. Market is just like life, entirely unpredictable. Another day, another pre-London profit. Yes, sir. Keep tuning into the stream and you're going to keep seeing it. And maybe if you listen to what's being said here, you can join. You can join the winning circle, right? You can become a winner yourself. It's up to you, man. Yeah, it's cringe as fuck. I'm pretty sure it's cringe as fuck. You know, like, you know, the thing about also being mixed race, when you walk out of a nice car, man, some people hate the idea of a young mixed race kid with money. That's also cringe as fuck. You think I give a fuck? No, I don't. No, I don't. If I gave a fuck what people thought, I wouldn't be where I am today. So thank you very much. Are you in any gold trades at the moment or waiting for the breakout again? Now, I think we're going to have buys above 55.14. So if you're looking for a long, wait for price to at least close above this area right here. Because I think it's also accumulating. It's accumulating right over here. But we need another support. You need price to come down, create a support, and then re-break the highs. Then you're going to see price go up. Yeah, I'm just going to block this guy. Man, you're wasting way too much energy. Instead of like actually putting that energy to good use to make some money, you're wasting it here. So I'm going to block you now. So adios, amigo. I wish you all the best on your journey. And good luck to you with that psychology of yours. I really do wish you the best. You know, I try to be like Tom Brady, man. You know, Tom Brady, he always tries to see the light in people until the end. until you just know when you gotta snippy snip, just cut them off like this, and you gotta wish them farewell and say, good luck on your journey, sir. If you see what Tom Brady did with Antonio Brown was one of the most talented football players, but he had a really bad psychology. You know, off the field, he used to disrespect people. He even disrespected the only guy who was supporting him, which was Tom Brady. At some point, Antonio Brown had cases against him. He couldn't really properly play in the NFL. But Tom Brady, the best quarterback, still pulled this guy out the mud and brought him to play with one of the best teams in the NFL and said, no, I see potential in this guy. You know what that guy did? That guy started making memes about Tom Brady's wife. He started like abusing Tom Brady's wife. And this was the only guy literally helping Antonio Brown at that time. Until Antonio Brown finally saw the light and then apologized to Tom Brady. But Tom Brady has always been that positive guy who's always just going to support you until the final moment, until he's just got to cut you off and say, man, the way you're acting right now, it's not good. You're acting very immature, very childish. You're disrespecting a lot of people, and we just got to cut you off. So that's the type of guy I always try and be. I always try to be as nice as possible until the very end. Because, you know, some people, you can't help them, man. You might have someone with so much talent, like Antonio Brown, but you just can't help them because it's just something in their psychology. It's like a self-destruction. It's almost like being a... what's that word? It starts with an N. No. Someone who doesn't believe in anything. Wait, let me try to find that word. A nihilist. Yeah, it's like a nihilist. That's what a nihilist is. A nihilist is somebody who doesn't believe in anything. He doesn't believe in religion. He doesn't believe in morals. A nihilist is somebody who only seeks to destroy. That's what a nihilist is. So, you know, there's some people who... Yeah, exactly, architect. Yeah, there's some people with that mental model of nihilism. So for them, nothing is real. And when you try and have a conversation with a nihilist, you can't, because for them, nothing is real. It's like kind of talking to somebody who's very deep into conspiracy theories. So everything is fake. And these people who are like really deep into conspiracy theories, they're also leaning more towards like a destruction type of mentality. So that's why I had to block him, chat. Like, I usually don't block people on my stream, but I'm seeing like these are traits of nihilism. So I really don't deal with people because I've dealt with people like that in my past. And I try to help people as much as possible until you can't help them anymore. And it's something I was really passionate about. Like, even when I started learning how to trade, like, you know, when we all start learning how to trade, it's like we want to help everybody, yeah? We want to tell everybody about this thing that we're doing, about how this can really change your life, about people who are actually doing it. You try and do that to a point where you realize that you can't do that. Like, even up until this day, some of my friends who asked me to learn how to trade, typically if you send them like 10 videos to watch, they're not even going to watch the videos. They don't want to put the work in. But I think, you know, I'm quite a young person. I'm still growing up, so that... Internet went down. Wait, are we back? This... We should be back. We should be back. We should be back. Are we good, Discord? I think we should be good. We should be back. We should be back. We should be back. Give me 1 second here. Alrighty. Let's go share the screen. Boom. Boom. Yeah, it should be good now. All right. So price accumulating right below 55.14. Just as we mentioned, it's going to create that little accumulation there, which is actually giving a better confluence for the point in time when it does end up breaking above. Let me try to get the bit rates up. Let's get the bit rates up. All right, awesome. Let me just make sure I got this backup internet on standby. I miss my Starlink. I don't have the Starlink here with me. So I gotta use like cellular. Yeah, let's go here. Boom, boom. Have that there. All right, nice. So where were we? Switch to the Starlink. Yeah, I don't have the Starlink here. Starlink is most streamers. You're gonna see like most streamers just use cellular. Starlink, you still need to have like a very good view of the sky, so it works. So whenever you watch people like in real life streaming, they got this device where you can have different cellular carriers. You can have like I think four different cellular carriers where like wherever in the world you are, you can stream, and if one goes down, the other one activates. Right, and activates based off like the best connection. So if you're driving from let's say one city to the next city, it also change based off of which one's like providing the best connection. I actually should invest in one of those things. It's pretty cool. But that's what mostly IRL streamers use, like in real life streamers, like Speed when he did his Africa tour. Oh wow, look at this. All right, so price is coming here 55.14. It closed right below that resistance, but volume should typically be coming in like by the time it breaks above some kind of resistance over here. Should be seeing volume, man, but that 5 minutes just ripped up, no bottom wick. Right at the mark of 55.14. Spartan, get ready. Hold up. I need to reset something here. Let's get this. Where is... Okay. How much are we up right now? 1.87. So Goldie did give back a few gains. Goldie did give back a few gains. But waiting on that bullish exuberance to come back in. Now it's just like re-breaking these weak highs. This is basically a point A, right? So this is... Oh, where are my tools? This is basically a... if we're going to see a move, most of the time you're going to see come out of a section point like this, right? So if we do get that distribution, typically this would be the starting point of when you're going to trace it back to... when could I have caught that move? Because typically you don't want to like necessarily always wait for this to happen first. You kind of want to see like what sections is it coming out from, right? So this is just a point A where it's going to give us a probability that a price can start actually distributing. Because right now there's no direction as of right now, because you only had like price come down once, push down bearish, and then broke into this like little sideways channel over here. So still no like true direction. Even if it fakes this section out and back into the range, there'll still be no direction. There'll still be no direction. And if it wants to come down again, then it will still have to at least break below some kind of a support area. Like this. It's going to have to at least get through that support section right here. Break below that wick. That wick is going to be by 54.97-ish. But as long as it's stuck within this general zone, there's nobody getting paid out. Correct? Everybody's just waiting to see where gold is going to be heading to next. Are we going to distribute bullish? Or we're going to come back into the gulag. This should have actually already distributed. As soon as I broke that high, it should have pushed up, because we are seeing still overall more bullish momentum in this market. But as far as the London session goes, sometimes it's also a sessional thing. Where as far as the London session goes, since the open, it's just been selling off. You know, but you could argue maybe that was a potential pullback, some pullbacks to try and attempt to go back up again. But you're going to see it at the end of the day. Sometimes you're going to look at PA and say, okay, you know, maybe that session didn't have any sort of like buy confirmations, because they're only like sell confirmations. I only got like one sell confirmation, which has all been counter trend moves. So if you look at these previous moves here, these are all just been counter trend moves. Sell, the accumulation here, break of the lows, sell. There's also one right over here. The accumulation break, that sold off. And then there was the shotgun play that closed below that support and then rebroke the lows, and that sold off. So far we have actually been seeing a lot more selling pressure, but we're just kind of waiting and anticipating when is that next bullish push going to come in. And if anything, then it should happen here within this section, within this region, because at least it's created like some kind of foundation, some kind of like a support over there. All right, now you also got a 5-minute close above that resistance. Will be good for that next 5 to re-break the highs. They just got to get through that little bit of selling pressure that they currently have over there. So yeah, I think it might be the first buy that we've seen since the London Open. Because since the London Open, everything's just been sell, sell, sell. If there's going to be a single buy, most likely this is going to be the first point where the probability should increase of a potential buy, if it is going to be a buy. Because you got a little bit of structure there. I'm holding a drawdown from 55.50. Sheesh, 55.50, 55.50. You got a massive stop loss. But I do see 55.50. Why would you hold such a huge drawdown? Price already came down about 783 pips. 763 pips. Man, that's insane. Why hold a drawdown that big? You know, the thing about like tighter stops, I love tighter stops, is because a tighter stop will allow you to move to your next trade. So if it's a losing trade, you can quickly move over to your next trade. Right? Quickly move over to your next trade. You see, just like yesterday's trading that we had. I think it's in this channel here. Yeah, just like yesterday's trading. See, if you take like a win, awesome. If you take a loss, quickly move over to next trade. Take a loss, quickly move over to next trade. And that gives you always an opportunity to like think, hey, you know, there's a reason that price went down 700. You know, there's a reason why price went down 783 pips against you. You have to cut it off. You have to cut that trade off. There's no point like sitting in such a huge drawdown. Even for me, the moment I get my stop loss hit, there's only like 60, maybe 20 pips. I'm out of that trade. Because most of the time, I can get back in if I need to get back in, instead of taking out like additional drawdown, which is much nicer. And that's exactly what I did yesterday. Took 4 trades yesterday. I had 2 back-to-back losses before my bomber clock win right over here. So I was either cut it off. You said I was looking for a sell. That helped me to change my mentality and say, okay, maybe it's not going to sell off. Look for a buy. Boom. Took the buy. And then that still didn't play out. But I said, okay, so if we re-break these highs, because now we've got an additional confluence, much like we're getting on gold right now with our shotgun play and the re-break of the highs on the 5. That's what I did yesterday. And that gave me the next trade, which is going to be my profitable trade. So that fluidity actually helps you become a better trader than like holding something like this unnecessarily. So for example, let's say if I was trading this breakout here, and then that happened to me. This is exactly scenario what happened to me yesterday as well. So I took the first break. You can see it on my chart work on the reels. You can see it on the pictures. And then I got stopped out something like this. I'm like, okay, you know, there's a pretty high chance during this time, if we re-break the highs, that will move up. So you kind of cut that out. And when it pays, it pays. That's a beautiful thing about gold though. Like when it pays, it pays. Because now you get like that same situation here. The initial break pulls down. And then you get that shotgun type of entry over there. Close and then re-break of the highs. Because it typically even shouldn't be doing that if it doesn't want to continue moving up bullish. So that was the train of thought of yesterday's 4th trade. And now you also got the new 15. It's actually quite similar to yesterday. You also got the new 15-minute candlestick that opened up right there. Let's see how it plays out. See, it was similar. This would be exactly like what happened yesterday. That's the funny part. But we didn't have an SMA though, not like this. Because, you know, at the end of the day, every moment in the market is somewhat unique, right? But this is exactly what happened to me yesterday. Then I took a buy over here on that 50-minute re-break. And then, yeah, TPs had already been hit right there. And insane. It literally the same way the candlesticks closed. You can check it on my channel right here. Just a little bit due diligence. Like I share with you guys like a lot of everything. Just go on my posts. You can see on my posts over here. Every day I show you the entry, I show you the signal, I show you whatever, boom boom boom. So that was the same, this is the same trade from yesterday. So that was the 15-minute candle, then that was the new 15-minute that opened and then shot upwards like that. But it was the same exact dynamics as today, except from that SMA. I don't think we had the SMA there. So yeah, we're just like taking advantage of as much volume as possible. Even like during times where it's like you got to give yourself a second, your trade a second chance. You just got to give it a second chance because it's volume. Right now, there's a higher chance. You know, taking a trade a second chance, the best time to do that is only when there's volume and you're trading with the market direction. That's the best time to maybe, you know, give your trade second chances. Right? Because you get away with a potential win. Worst time to give your trade second chances is when you're revenge trading and there's low volume and market is consolidating, because there's a higher probability you're just going to compound your loss. Or if you're, let's say, counter trending the daily time frame, higher chance you're gonna mess it up. Like even with today's trade, I missed my first initial buy I still took a buy off a shotgun play, which was overextended, and it still played out as a successful trade because the amount of volume we have in gold spot right now, and just taking a buy in general is just been the way to go if you trade gold. I think anybody with a few brain cells will tell you that, man, gold is moving up, and there's no reason to think that it's gonna move down at any point right now. These are just small minor pullbacks, but for me, I'm quite sticking to the bullishness. I want to stick to as much buy opportunities as I possibly can, because I see this thing with Iran and Trump is also going to escalate soon. That should drive some further volume into February for us. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing. I see this man's really locked in over here as well, Gbpjpy. Actually catching the trades that I wish I would have caught. I've been taking more of the aggressive approaches. He's been catching more of the ones that, you know, you'd ideally catch in even like in a slow market. Yeah, you'd ideally want to wait for those type of setups like this. So pretty good stuff, Gbpjpy. Pretty good stuff. V-Rise pattern, expect enter on the 15 with a signal. It's a gold buy. All right, let's see. How much does this peak? Okay, we'll move like 36 pips. Not bad. I don't even think NQ does that. Such a small move like this. I think on NQ or something would be like a lot smaller. Like this candle at NQ, that's only about... That's like 17, right? 17 points. NQ kind of moves slow. It's like a GJ. A little bit more volume than GJ. But still not as much as gold. NQ is also your US 100 either way. It's range bound. So you got a support and you have a resistance right here. So NQ is waiting for a breakout. Daily is 0.01%. So it's like a doji. You can see the dojiness in the intraday time frame PA. So you can see here on the daily time frame, candlestick's not doing much. So that's what you get on the lower time frame. That accumulation right over here. So I think NQ is waiting for something. Let's see if we got news today. What day is it? Thursday. We got unemployment claims. Looks like they're looking to keep the forecast the same. Not much of a difference. 2,000 to 2,200 to 206. So the difference is not that much. It's a rise in unemployment claims, meaning that it should actually be bearish for the dollar and more bullish for gold, but not such a big difference. But previous numbers have been coming out quite good. And I think this is what Powell was speaking about yesterday as well. He talked about how inflation is starting to look much better and how the economy is actually strengthening right now. But what you're seeing on the dollar index is a different story. And also the way Trump's politics are affecting the market also playing a role. Trump's tariffs, now this escalation in Iran is going to play a role. So that's all making the dollar kind of like hold artificially. But I do still think, even though Powell said the economy is getting stronger, I do still think that DXY is going to tumble. The dollar index is going to tumble. And gold is going to keep moving up. Like gold is trying to fulfill this range, you know. It's supposed to, it was supposed to move up. That's the thing. As soon as it broke this high, it shouldn't even have pulled down like a little bit like it did. It was supposed to just move up. Given like that volume, that exuberance that we're seeing. So that's what we've been quite used to in the market of late as well. But eventually it does go up anyway, as you can see here. I think it's just trying to like shake out some people. Kind of like how it tried to shake me out on Tuesday's stream. It came really close to stopping me out, and then it went back in my TPs. So I think that's where it's trying to like shake out some people. But you can see this range was going to get filled nonetheless. And we said like if there's going to be a distribution for a long position, it's coming out of this zone anyway. So what you're going to see next, and we drew it as well, was bullish candlesticks in a row like this. And you're going to look back at it in hindsight, and you're going to say, okay, you know, that made sense that that volume came out of this section right over here. You know, most people they're gonna see that, and then I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe they're gonna start feeling FOMO and then start buying up here. But that's the thing about the market. It will wait. It will move and then it will wait. So you can't want to be coming in the waiting phase. Ideally, you want to be in that waiting phase so you can get in when everybody else is getting in, rather than getting in just based off of FOMO for it to keep moving up like that. So that's the whole idea behind TFX concepts as well. That's what we strive to aim for, is setups where we can get in when it's time to get in. You see, that's why certain plays like this, like Gbpjpy took as well, played out beautifully, correct? Because where I got in personally this morning was on a extended shotgun play when it was already in the distribution phase. Now it still played out because obviously like it will still play out. This is a pre-London buy. It will play out. But this was a much better trade that you caught right here. And I saw it happen and I was about to execute on that one too. I saw it happening. I was like, okay, I'm already up like $1,000 right now. If I take this trade, it's still in essence a pre-London TFX confirmation. I could still take this trade. And I saw a break, then I kind of hesitated. I was like, okay, you know, let me not be greedy. Let me not be greedy. Stick to one trade a session. Ideally, if you can start the day off like that, that's the best way to start off. One trade a session. But yeah, that was a much cleaner move, and I saw it happening and played out very clean. So you can see right now on pound, I mean on Goldie itself, filling up the range, is coming out that distribution right over here. It should have done it much smoother than this, but anyway, you know, the market's a market. Sometimes you do get those pullbacks. As I did mention before, you could always just look for that additional scale and opportunity, like we did yesterday. I broke above the high, boom, 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 came back, still respected. 5-minute candle close above resistance, rebroke the highs, and then pushed up. I think it was like 36 pips before I get a small pullback. Retest the zone a little bit more. And then fill up the range. So yeah, now the range has been filled towards a 55.29. So if you didn't catch that move, then I guess now the only move is with a clean traffic, maybe right above here, 55.38, or lock into the 1 minute time frame. I think the 1 minute will still provide a potential entry, because sometimes when you don't see that clean, you know, it's much nicer to get a trade like this, correct? When you got your setup down over here with that clean traffic, but sometimes you kind of like, let's say you didn't get it, you gotta wait on the LTF and then just based off the lower time frame structure to keep moving up beyond these points, because these points are actually meant to get disrespected. If there's volume in the market, we're still meant to get through these areas, and you will still see price get through those zones. But yeah, ideally, I guess you want to be coming in somewhere like this. That's much cleaner. Trader Nick is up 200k on gold. Oh, nice, good for him. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't really like have just one big trade. I know a lot of traders, they got less like maybe hit rates or something, or they prefer the really huge trades. We could have set up a really big trade, but I like to just scalp like 2-3 trades a day. We could do like a big trade, but yeah, I don't know. I think my pattern has been paying me quite well, so I think I'm quite happy with my pattern at the moment. So yeah, I'm not gonna change anything. But most traders will do that right now. You will see most traders gonna make like 200k, 50k. I'm okay with just taking a small slice of the cake daily. I was up 8k, close it. Nice. If we need a big trade, we can easily get a big trade. Because if you gotta look back at our data over here, we can easily get a big trade if we need one. Like the trades are supposed to push quite a lot from our entry points. So it's not like you gotta wake up for the Asia session to catch a big trade. You can even catch a big trade during pre-New York. I caught a 5% trade here. Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I caught almost a 6% trade. But that was also to make back for my previous 2 losses, because I lost here about 4.55, but then before that I had a 1.87 win. So the 5.90 was more of like just to keep me back into the greens. So I ended the day at around maybe roughly close to 2%. But that's the thing, it's like we can still get these bomber cloud trades when we need to. I got 5.13% trade here. This was on a Monday. So you never really miss out. Back to back, we got 4.40%, 4.30%. Like any one of these trades, most of the time we're going to be running trades. Like I would say maybe like 70% plus of the time, probably get like a potential bomber clot. But because I've been trading since 2020, I understand that the market conditions are not always so favorable. So the way my character has been built, it's been built to take profit. You know, that's kind of like my humbling. I've been humbled to take profit. So even getting out of that mental model, even in market conditions like this, is quite difficult. Because I'm always just thinking of the worst case scenario. Like, oh, what if this 2% goes back to drawdown? What if I lose this 2%? I can secure $1,000 right now. If someone gave me that money like in cash, I would take it. But you see, as traders, we see it in P&L and numbers on the screen. So for us, it's easier to try and like push it and push it and push it and push it because you're seeing the numbers go up. So it's just a fine balance of being greedy and just making sure you're in the game for the long term. Because what happens to a lot of traders as well, when they come out of an exuberant market like this, they're gonna find it very difficult to go back to the norm. Because now they're just so used to holding, they might end up with a streak of a lot of losing or break-even trades before they realize that the market conditions have shifted. So I would say like holding a trade is only very applicable when you're trying to maybe make back profits or really kind of maximize and give yourself a little stimulation based off of like good performance, but not taken based off of like greed. And you can see here, range has been filled, market participants in, market participants out by 55-30 level over there. So that was the main entry. The trick about trading sometimes is getting on that bull. Because sometimes the bull is going to try and shake you off. So you have to be able to, you know, look and see the opportunities where it makes sense to give a trade a second chance, like we did yesterday, correct? And that's actually what makes a trader is their edge and their risk tolerance to a certain thing like that happening. Because ideally, I wouldn't recommend to people to do what I did yesterday, which was take multiple trades in that short time span, because that for a lot of people is gonna lead to tilt, especially people who are still learning. It's gonna lead more to tilt and unnecessary mistakes. So if you burn your hand on the stove one time, let the stove cool down before you touch it again. Right? You bang your hand on a pot or like anything, just let it cool down first before you touch it again. That's the whole idea. Until you get super confident with giving trades multiple chances based off of your understanding of how that instrument should operate during that time you're trading. Like you have to know how it moves during that time, what's usual for that movement during that time, what's not usual for that movement. That kind of gives you a better idea on when it pays to be a bit more aggressive. Do you know Trade by Psy? No. I do not know Trade by Psy. Oh, this guy. I've seen this guy on Instagram, I think, once before. Looks like 21 Savage. Even got that same 21 Savage tattoo on his face. 10 bad bitches in a mansion. Wrists all merry, rockin' diamonds on me dancing. When you're working hard and your money start expanding. I got model bitches trying to lick me like some candy. Yeah, and them drugs come in handy. Last night, savage bitch, but no, I'm not Randy. Hit her with a condom, had to make her eat a plan B. He looks like 21 Savage. On a prop near passing phase 1. Nice, nice. Get those counts passed. This is the best time to pass funding programs, 100%. We got KV over here. And they were like, what KV say? He's trading his first time his live account. All glory to God. Been paper trading for 3 years. This is my 4th year. And first year trading real funds. Let's freaking go. It's insane it took you so long to trade real funds. Been paper trading for 3 years. I would say you should have jumped onto a live account by the 2nd month. Once you get everything down, technical and lot sizing, whatnot, you should have already been on a live account. Because you see, now you're still now gonna have to build after all this time. You're still gonna have to build that psychology with real money too. Unless you're good at locking out the idea that you're trading real money and just keep treating it like you're paper trading. But yeah, this is awesome. Deposited like $50, made around 158. Trump making us rich for free. Let's go. Oh wait, that was my emoji. Finger on the trigger. Iran warns of a quick retaliation. Talk your shit. Yeah, we got some bars. We got some bars. Live, Iran warns of a quick retaliation as Trump revives U.S. threats. Even Raja's got some buzz. You know, Raja Banks used to rap. I wish you could find that video online. It's too funny. He used to write raps. Raja's got some buzz too. This is back in 2020 over there. EU must respond to Tehran's crackdown on protests. Top French diplomat says. Iran warns of a quick retaliation as Trump revives U.S. threats. What are they going to retaliate with? This is the freaking U.S. military. But you know what Iran? No, it's Israelis. Israelis do very nice spy military equipment when it comes to spying. They got really good technology, Israelis, when it comes to spyware. Man, the girls in that military are so peng. I used to know this Israeli girl in school. Then she went to the military, but have you seen the Israeli military force? Holy. Holy. All right, let's focus on trading. What do we got next? Unemployment claims. Tomorrow we have Freaky Friday, which is core PPI. So inflation data, or change in price of finished goods and services. That's the only thing left for the week up ahead. Unemployment claims and core PPI. That's it. We'll not be trading during that time anyway. As you all already know, we trade just around these red folders. So this should not affect us. The only things that are going to affect us is going to be whatever happens with Trump, whatever Trump speaks about, whatever escalations he might conjure up today, later on, and see where gold is tomorrow. Then we're going to just take our trades based off that. So if we start retracing tomorrow, if we see a lot of bearish PA, then we're going to start looking for sells. And not marry, as well, don't marry the idea of buys continuously. Because if price starts to sell off heavy, you want to look for sells. So that's if you're going to see, for example, daily bias indicator, they're going to say bearish tomorrow. don't shy away from sells, because tomorrow should be Freaky Friday. We might see that weekly candlestick start to pull down a bit more, since this has already been quite a crazy week. And as it's about to close, we might see it pull down. So potential, we could see a bearish candle tomorrow. Because so far this whole week, price has just been moving up bullish. So eventually we're going to need a pullback. What's your point of view about this man, Che Guevara? Don't have any opinions about him. Also, I took a whole year paper trading before getting on a real trade. I mean, I get if you don't have capital, but even if you, my first deposit into my trading account was like $400. Not like 400, $500. Like even that amount, trading even a 0.01 lot size, in my opinion, is still a lot more beneficial for psychological development than just paper trading. Because you're getting your feet wet. You're properly getting your feet wet when you actually winning and losing money. But you see this range here just got filled, so that was a point A. So now it would have to set up again. Now you'd have to wait for it to set up again. And that's literally like all we do on a day-to-day basis. Like once you understand just the foundations of how we trade, and I think a lot of you already kind of understand that, the concepts, and you can see how well that the concepts the work, right? You can see how well they work. And all that we got to do is just be consistent daily, not be greedy, not to tilt. Make sure you're following the rules, not over trading. That's it, because no market only moves 3 directions anyway at the end of the day. As it's coming down like this, it's gonna have to set up again, something similar of the sort, and maybe you can get like some really nice confluence to the buy again up towards that resistance by 55.24. So it's not complicated, you know, like we like to use as fresh PA as possible. So you see, like this move has already happened, so that's been done. There's nothing that price is gonna come here to do again. Like that was a target. So it's not moving on to the next section right over here, where it's going to print your next probability for either going to be a winning or losing trade. So you see, when you shift that mental model like this, you start to actually see how enjoyable and consistent you can actually be in the market. When you're trading with the market, not always looking too far back to see what's going to happen. The only time we're going to look too far back is when there's nothing happening in the moment. So there's no point to come onto a chart and then start doing 4-hour, 1-hour analysis, coming all the way down to your lower time frames. Most of the time it's unnecessary. Seems like now gold is going nowhere. Yes, it's created a support by here. So if it sells, maybe you're going to see potential sell. Potential sell below this level right here by 5,500, which is actually nice. It's a psychological mark, so that lines up pretty well. Got 5,500 psychological right there. Buys have been played out. Same sideways movement. Tom Brady. This guy is actually such an OG. I don't know like how much of an OG Tom Brady actually was. this a type of character that you. Oh, it's not even letting me add the GIF. I think I gotta back out Discord real quick. Let me just. I think y'all can still see the screen. Yeah, you can also see the screen. Guy's such an OG, man. Like he's got the perfect psychological makeup to be great. Year of your life wasted? Yeah, if you've been paper trading for a whole year, such a waste. Seems like gold is going nowhere. Which level breaks in your view, which ensures all trend? Oh, which ensures south trend? 5,000? Yeah, like 5k. Break below that support. My first trade was live. I only started paper trading after blowing my first account. Your girl watches you live. I used to have a 30% win rate by averaging 7R. It was really profitable, but the back-to-back losses is really taxing. Now I prefer to cap out a 1R with 70%. Yeah, the back-to-back losses can really get you. Not only that, but also when you miss the 7R trade. Because now you have to keep going back-to-back. Because you're going to have a cluster of wins and losses during that time you're trading. So if you miss that just one, because it's going to look something like this, right? You're going to have back-to-back losses for dramatic effect. Let's just say something like this. And then you just missed that one. You missed that one trade. Then you got to keep going through it. In principle, right? In principle, that's the idea. So you have to always show up. You can never miss a day that's going to be like a good day. Well, hey, sometimes you also get the back-to-back wins too, right? Yeah, back-to-back 7Rs. But a 1 to 7 is so taxing. Like even getting like low risk, high reward, super taxing. But if you just focus on percentage, it's a lot easier to manage percentage. Because you know the market also moves based off percentage. It doesn't move based off risk to reward. It moves off percentage and a structure. So even you see with the way we trade over here, you never hear me speak about risk to reward that much. I'm always either speaking about either percentage, which it could be a daily percent or P&L percent, and structure. Because that's the foundation of what you get as a trader, right? That's what you get. You get structure, you get percent. Those are the kind of like our building blocks over there. So that's whenever I look at the charts, those are the main things before we even get to confluences or anything of the sort. Secret strategies, that sort of thing. You won't find use in that if you don't understand the basic concepts first. That wouldn't help you. So like right now we got a pretty simple structure. 5500 psychological marks as well. These are pretty solid things. Because you're either going to hear ever in news, they're talking about psychological marks, they're going to talk about percentages, and they're going to talk about market structure. Most of the time in the sense of consolidating or distributing. But you're never going to, the very low probability you're ever going to watch even a movie on trading and they're ever going to mention like a fair value gap. Like there's a 0% chance that you ever watch a trading movie and they're going to mention something about a fair value gap. Even in trading movie, they're going to talk about those key building blocks. So whenever I approach the market, I approach it from a neutralized point like that. You know, and then we just give our plays names like a shotgun play or accumulation breakout, but it's all built off foundational concepts. So it's not anything that kind of like made up. You know, like maybe a breaker block or something of the sort. We're gonna make ICT like similar like trend lines soon. Trend lines have gotten so much heat Nobody believes in a trend line. ICT is next. It's because it's more made up than anything. Like there's this girl who posted a video the other day, and I saw in that video was written proof that ICT works, and all I saw was a freaking distribution. It was an accumulation that had broken out and distributed and had come back down to her breaker block, I think, or whatever she got in, and then it went back up again. Then the title was like proof ICT works. Right? Like there were so many things that were happening at that one point that's not proof that ICT works. You know? It's not. Like anything will freaking work a few times. You know, trend lines will work, Fibonacci's, Wyckoff theory, like even if I draw a random line on the chart here, anything will work a few times. The question is like, are you building the house on a solid foundation or like a wishful thinking foundation? But anyway, price is coming down here by 5,500. So we're gonna see if like breaks below and then continues to fill this next range. Over here, it's like 163 pips. But if you already took this buy here, then I think, you know, pretty good. Coin flip strat works sometimes. Yes. Even you know, a guy who takes a buy like this, for example, he could take a buy here and have a stop loss here. But given the right amount of time, you can coin flip this to either be a buy or a sell, and you will still get away. It was like a super negative risk reward. So you see, that's already 36 pips, and then typically it would close like right there. Correct? If you can flip a coin, this could be a sell that's in drawdown as well. So even if you flip it like this, it could be a sell that's, let's say, in a drawdown, but the market doesn't move in one direction forever, so it will eventually come back down to put you in a bit of profit. Then that's when you secure. And if you trade like this, you're gonna have a really high hit rate. You can go like months without taking a loss. The problem only is when you take the loss. That's the only problem with that strategy. But besides from that, you can get away with a pretty long win streak. It's just like, what's the probability you catch the tip? You know, like what's the probability that you actually catch the tip right here, that trade comes all the way back up? It'll happen to you, but you can get away with a lot of wins before that happens. Yeah, I can see through the smoke and mirrors. Like people are gonna explain it to you in a way that maybe you're gonna think makes sense, but every moment in the market is unique. And it's what Mark Douglas said. Every moment in the market is unique. So if you take a sell now and price goes against you 700 pips, there's no reason to say why that your sell was so special that it needs to come back down there. Because when it already moves like 700 pips, that's like a whole new market condition up over there. If you're trying to take a sell, it's a whole new market condition. So at that point, you're just kind of sitting duck, hoping that price is just going to come back and retrace that area. That's typically what that is. Because, you know, like when you're day trading, and day trading is arguably like the most difficult, because when you're position holding, you hold for weeks, months, years, because you're betting on the overall direction. Like, so gold is most likely, if you're a position holder, you most likely want to be in a buy, not a sell, because you're most likely going to get whips. Right? So then it makes sense. Like, yeah, it's going to go up. It's gold. It's a safe haven. Of course, you're on the right side of the market. But if you're day trading that same mental model, then you're going to end up in a very, very shitty situation. Because during day trades, price can go in either direction. And your stop losses are usually within that daily ATR, average true range. I want to do that in recent conditions. It needs to be a buy position. Yeah, it will have to be a buy position. It's kind of like the stock market, right? Stock market's always going to go up. Oh, look, US 100 finally broke out. It broke out of the gulag here. Distributed down towards the downside. Started breaking below 26. Pushed about like 27 pips. You see, that's the distribution. Now you can even see it with that extension. This is where the money flows. So we're trying to just catch that money flow over here, because this is just accumulation. Correct? This is just orders being built up, waiting for the money flow. And usually 90% of the time you can think of markets like that. That it's just doing that, and then 10% of the time it's paying out. So that's where my edge is as a trader. This is the whole idea behind the way I trade. Like in a very simple diagram. Like a textbook diagram of how to perceive the market, or how I perceive the market. Just in a textbook way, because you know the setups can look quite different from time to time, but in a textbook way, this is how I do it. Because you know you're gonna have other situations like here. This is one situation, so that's like a range inside of a range. That's a play inside of a play, because the markets are fractal. But you see, when we start doing that, then it becomes a lot more confusing. So if we just strip all of that complicated stuff, then that's basically it. That's what we're waiting for, that distribution. It's the same thing that happened right here. Same thing happened, but you can't see it so well on the 5, so you gotta have to investigate the 1. The same thing that happened. So, but in this scenario, you had more of a choppy payout, because it had to keep coming back to retest. So this would have been a situation where I think the first breakout, it did pull down and then push like 36 pips, and then it came down slightly and then it pushed up again. That would be like a second try situation, like yesterday's position was. So it's quite important. Like if you're tuning into this stream, don't just tune into the stream, because trust me, you're missing on a plethora of information if you're not keeping up with the daily posts, the daily positions, the daily posts, and the daily reels. If you're not keeping up with all of this, this is all just going to seem kind of all confusing to you. You got to keep up with all this information. You know, that's why we have so much of this information. That's why we have all these channels over here. So you can keep up with the trades. As it priced as a rejected 5,500, couldn't break below it, kind of stuck within this range. Now after like fulfilling that towards resistance, now it's stuck within this broader range from this wick to that wick. It's like 333 pips. 333 pips. I like that it moves normal with London. FFS, NYB flying. It's also like 514. So volume should be coming in again in the next hourly candlestick. I use trend lines that help me a lot for trend or when trend is broken. In combination with Fibonacci, look for example on the 5-minute chart trend line from top to down. We broke it and retest. Oh, nice. You can send a chart in because it's easier to see it visually than when you explain it like that. The BE after 80 pips profit. Nice. Got Bobby Hines in the house. Nice at $1,300. Trump says Iran wants talks as U.S. aircraft carrier deploys. It's happening today, huh? Oh, I can't look at this. Proceed to story. January 28th, Donald Trump urged Iran to negotiate a fair deal banning nuclear weapons, warning the next U.S. attack will be far worse in a social media post. Following reports of a severe crackdown, could this be the thing that moves gold for next week, first week of February? Maybe we see some escalation happen over the weekend. Then get that Monday candle open with no bottom wick. The U.S. carrier strike group led by USS Abraham Lincoln has arrived in the Middle East waters. Holy, it sounds scary. USS Abraham Lincoln. Time for some democracy, Iran. Announced Monday, launching multi-day Air Force exercises without disclosing locations. Iran's mission to the United Nations said Tehran is ready for dialogue based on mutual respect, but will defend itself if pushed. Oh, this is like gonna see. You know, politicians are so funny. They're like children in a way. They're like children, like just about to fight on the playground over here. Like, hey, Trump, you know, we can talk this out, but man, if you keep pushing me, I'm gonna push you back. While regional states in Israel warned against escalation and the UAE denied airspace use. Blame capitalism. There's a reason why our world is so messed up like this. All because of capitalism. The administration says it will negotiate if Tehran accepts clear conditions, with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff outlining bans on enrichment. Actually, is capitalism, maybe blame human nature. Not even capitalism. I think it's just ingrained in our nature. There's never been a time in human history where we've just all lived in perfect harmony. If anything, it's gotten better than what it was before. Because without the fear of violence, given our free will, people will take advantage of that and do what they want to do. Correct? Did you see the movie Tenet? No. Let me see. Tenet. Oh, Tenet. I feel like I saw it somewhere before, but got 7.3. I feel like I watched it. It's a really old movie, huh? Let's see, what year is this? A tenet is a principle or belief honored by a person or more often a group of people. Seek pleasure and avoid pain. Is a basic tenet of hedonism. "2020. Got the guy from Robert Pattinson here. Got the guy from Twilight. He's always gonna be the guy from Twilight. Twilight was such a huge... You know, I think the only actor who did not have such a good propel from Twilight was a... What was that guy's name? Lontna. The wolf. The actor Lontna. The movies he did after Twilight just failed, but Robert Pattinson and the girl, they actually went off to have really good careers after that. You know, it's kind of hard to break through such roles. Like, even the freaking Harry Potter, they all had pretty good careers after Harry Potter as well. Alright, let's see if like price breaks below 5,500. It starts breaking below that point. Should see some more selling pressure come in. Because right now it's accumulating, it's getting ready for that break. Just a similar thing of what a US 100 did right here. Then it broke, distributed beautifully. Oh, that's the son of Denzel Washington. What? That's crazy. This guy's the son of Denzel Washington? Wasn't American actor and former American football player. Wasn't this guy in Entourage? Remember that series, Entourage? The former football player. But he doesn't have the Denzel Washington lip tuck thing. That would be legendary. That's Denzel Washington's wife. Pauletta Washington. I think he takes over his... He looks more of his mom than he does Denzel. Now, Goldie still needs to... Definitely still need to set up here. Though, if anything, the way it looks like it wants to come below 5,500. Because for gold to move up, like properly to move up, would have to break above 5,530. And like proper volume would need to come in. Like that's going to be most probably pre-New York into New York open for that play. It starts to break above here, because then that would give it enough time to accumulate to get through these zones on the left hand side by like 5540. Then I'll have enough orders in that it can push to that level. But that was actually the last setup. So the setup that we spoke about here that played out to resistance, that was the last move. Right now it's setting up again. It's in that process of creating opportunity for a payout. Because see right now it's more flat. So that was the last move as it comes into the next phase. I think like even if you understand that cycle in its own, you start to see why that we look for, like how trading can be very stress-free. You know, if you just understand this cycle over here. Yeah, you have to understand the cycle of money, how money operates. It takes time to generate. You know, so you gotta understand the cycle, how it generates, and then how it distributes. So right now we're still in that generation. Where people get most confused with trading is usually because of fractals. Because that's happening on such higher to lower levels that you kind of sometimes don't know what time frame you should best use. Like a 4 hour, 5 minute, a 1 minute. That's what confuses most of the time people. But I think if you want to be very impulsive, if you want to keep going lower and lower, it's best that you do that with a bit more of experience of trading that system. But if you want to be safe, then it's much simpler to wait for those opportunities which present themselves, much like the ones Kevja took today. You see, like, because price was in a bullish extension the whole time. So that was the only bit of structure. So there's no second guessing, because that's literally the only structure there that you could have based a trade off of. Whereas in a situation like this, because of the way it's taking really long to set up, it may even start coming in lower because the range is a lot bigger. And the time we're heading into this 5 a.m. Eastern candle is a lot slower. So you might see those opportunities present themselves within this range from this low to this high. Have you watched Shutter Island? Yeah, I watched Shutter Island. So Leo in that movie was crazy, huh? The whole time. I think that's how I remember it towards the end. Gold demand to remain strong as investors reassess risk. Even US 100 paid off a bit here. It broke below support, and then next candlestick re-broke the previous lows, and then it pushed. How many pips is this? Not much, like 13 pips. On gold, that would have been equivalent to like 20, 30 pips. But it's doing, I think, a reversal play, right? Yeah, I did a small little reversal play there. The market's really good at keeping people in position. So you'd see like have a small move like this, and then again stagnate for a bit. And then that's the reason why if you're holding your trades for a really long time, there's always a higher chance you get stopped out. It's really good at doing this thing. You can like invert as well if you want. It's really good at not moving anywhere. Like if you look at it just generally speaking, that's why like people kind of lose on trades sometimes, because it's good at not moving anywhere. So that little fluctuations kind of like get you out of your trades. But when you see it in hindsight, it always looks like it moved pretty smooth. And it doesn't always move that smooth. You know, so those fluctuations kind of screw you. Those fluctuations got me yesterday. They really got me yesterday. It almost got me today as well. Day in the life, day in the life. Hey Hamza, welcome, welcome. Hamza is that like an Arabic name? I think I know one word in Arabic. I know one word in Arabic. Sharmuta. Sharmuta. Or I know one word in Somali. Any Somalis in the chat? Khoidawas. Break trend line. 50 Fibonacci plus retest trend line. I got like 165 pips still floating below 5,500. It's like 5:30 now. We got a new 30-minute open. You might be looking to get this wick fill over here. Sharmuta is not polite. I always want to learn the impolite words. Just in case somebody says it to you. You know, you could be at a restaurant somewhere and then somebody's going to say, pretend like all friendly and stuff. Then they're going to say under their breath, Sharmuta. They'll be like, wow, you know, I thought this guy was friendly, but looks like he's not actually friendly. Calling me a Sharmuta like this. Yeah, some people do that. Some people pretend they're all friendly, and then they're going to say it in a language you don't understand. Then you're going to say, okay, you thought I was not going to understand that. Look at this. You got a no top wick, no bottom wick, next candle open, no top wick, just completely melted. We're definitely seeing a lot more selling pressure than buys for London since the London open here. Selling pressure accumulate. Now it's not re-break the lows. It's got about like 3 minutes for candle to close there. It's gonna mop up. It's gonna look to mop this range towards like 54.81. If it's really starting to push down like this, that's basically gonna be its target. It's just the same way like its target was here to that resistance. Then its next target ideally should be here if it gets through 5,500, which is also quite an important psychological mark. See on the 1 minute. There's nothing on the 1 minute. Flirting with the idea of sells. Would you recommend 50k or 100k funded, then milking it for my life? I saw with the 50. I got the money for higher accounts from the 50. So if you can go with 100, just go with 100. Because you're gonna get more money from the 100. And that's gonna scale the account even faster, right? It's milk it. That's all that the prop firms are good for. They're not good to stay on and build, but they're just good for milking, right? Entry fee is so much lower, and the risk to reward is actually really appetizing. Would you consider a sell even with a 30-minute candle that has no top wick? It depends if it's an accumulation break, then it doesn't really need a top wick. Like when a candle doesn't have a top wick, it's just showing to you there's volume. There's a lot of volume in there. It's flirting with the idea. It wants to tumble below 5,500. It's a psychological mark which is just holding. There's no setup. That's the problem. There's no setup right now. There's no setup, so that doesn't give people confidence to get in. That's the whole idea behind a setup. A setup is supposed to there to give people confidence, like this is the time we're going to jump in. But the way it's moving now, it's kind of random. So even if it moved down to fill this range, it would be like slightly a bit random without maybe even a candlestick closing, or it would be more of like an impulse based trade where you just say like a truly impulsive based trade where there's no strategy involved. But maybe because of the way price is moving, you see that there's a chance that if it breaks these lows, then volume should come back in to push down. It's a very impulsive based trade because there's really like zero kind of a confirmation. Those types of entries are even much nicer if there was at least some kind of a liquidity grab. Even with zero confirmation, if like get a candlestick, somehow do some kind of a liquidity grab somewhere and then break the lows. Oh wait, I can't read the messages on Discord if you guys are typing. Let me just rejoin. Okay, let's get back in. Oh, there we go. That was your wife's trade. Was teaching my wife. She's getting better. Just got a really nice TFX entry on NAS. She made the first $200 trade. Still evaluation, passing Apex, Aval. Need more 1,600. W wife. She got a breakout. Very nice. That's very nice. Order flow is bearish at the moment on the 5-minute. So you're putting the family to work there, Ricardo. Soon the kids got to trade too. Everybody's got to pull their weight. You guys got to get yourself a small hedge fund going on. Say, okay, you're gonna do responsible for fundamentals. You're responsible for this. Everybody's gonna have to pull the weight around here. This 30 has no top wick. Yeah, it might be going up to create it actually. Like 20 minutes, 30 seconds. You see, it's flirting with 5,500. It senses it there. It senses that there's a pretty important zone right here that it needs to get through if it wants to continue selling off. The market senses these things. It senses important areas like that. It senses confirmations, like when you get entry confirmation, it's gonna sense it as well. That's why you gotta get those results that you typically would expect as soon as you execute on a trade. Thomas Brady. Tom Brady. But I find it so amazing. Like, how is this guy so humble though? How is Tom Brady? He seems like such a humble guy. How is he so humble? It's so hard to be humble sometimes. He has so much money. Yeah, even without much money, I think, you know, the money it's only gonna make you more of the person you are. Having a lot of money is like it's like drinking alcohol. You know, if you're gonna have somebody who's really happy when they're sober, very positive when they're sober, when they're drinking alcohol, that makes it even more of a person that, you know, they're gonna be even more funny when they're a bit more drunk. You know, they're gonna be more positive. But if you're gonna be a depressed person, a negative person all the time, what do we call this? What's that word again? Shit, why did I forget that word? The N word. Nihilist. If you're a nihilist, man, when you drink alcohol with a nihilist, they even become worse. They're a worse person to be around. So alcohol and like money is similar like that, because it's just gonna bring out more of who you are as a character. So more money you make, it should make you, if you're a positive person, it should even make you more positive, more grateful, more humble, more thankful. You've always been a greedy person, you've always been an asshole, it makes you even a bigger asshole. So that's why people say that money changes you. It doesn't change you. It just it reveals more of who you truly are when you make it. What kind of person are you? Is FX Vic Mensa gonna stop wearing black t-shirts and start wearing golden Versace silk robes when he makes money? Is FX Vic Mensa gonna start wearing gold chains, Patek Philippe's, and that sort of thing when he makes money? Or does he still rock up in the same black t-shirt? Same black t-shirt that he wore. You see, that's how money is gonna reveal your true nature. You see, like some of these guys who win the lottery, the ones who don't change are the ones who will keep the money that they won from the lottery. So if you see, if there's been a few months they've gone and they still have the same old humble, kind of like humble in quotation, but like more or less humble lifestyle, they're the ones most likely to keep the money. Mm. So like these guys won like about $61.45 million. But you know, this guy, he's still rocking the same hat. He's still rocking the same hat. Nothing much has changed except maybe they got like a bigger house, but like for the most part, you know, they don't even take away or anything. Like this is just food that basically they cook themselves. They get the meat and, you know, they gonna like help each other out of the kitchen. They're quite like, you know, family oriented. This is like now the whole family and stuff. Obviously they have like, you know, a few nice things. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, right? But for the most part, those foundational things, they don't change. You know, your family, you know, you're not gonna eat out every night. You're just gonna enjoy the little bit of more freedom that you have to spend time with the people around you. You know, if you like playing golf, you know, you end up playing a little bit more golf, but nothing really changes. You know, most of the time, these are the type of people who keep the money that they make. You know, so you always gotta be humble. Like even in trading, always gotta be humble. Always gotta be humble. You have a positive day, you know, just appreciate that. Just know the next trade is around the corner. Still flirting with this section here, but maybe like look for some potential buys if a price breaks above here. You're gonna have some kind of a resistance, some potential longs above 55.14 and break that high. And you got about 81 pips towards this next section right here. 81 pips. So this is where Goldie's in between right now. So you got potential sell right below 5,500, buys above 55.14. You wait for like any one of these two to break. Most likely it's gonna fill either one of these two ranges. But I'm gonna head out here, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the session. And remember, like, we're in a bull run right now. So if you're gonna see price again up tomorrow, but tomorrow's Freaky Friday. It's a Friday. We might get that weekly pullback, and you're gonna see a bearish candle closure. So we might tomorrow be down negative instead of positive. So if we're down negative, we might see some sell side. If we're up bullish still, we're going to see some further buy side to wrap up the week. As far as the pre-New York session goes, I want to see more of a bull side. But there's a potential sell below 5,500. Because, I mean, from the London, it's just London sessions has predominantly been selling. We only had one buy opportunity, literally like right here. The majority of the volume is heading down. Maybe it's already prepping towards a Friday closure. Going to give back some gains as the week closes. But I would prefer to see the buys. We'll see how the sells approach and then take it from there. But I hope you all enjoyed this little stream over here, and I will catch you all in the next one. Adios.